Man, G.I. Joe collectors go crazy, man. Y'all crazy. Y'all finally did it. You finally applied enough pressure to Target and harassed enough of Hasbro's corporate employees to let them know that y'all meant some business. So they're running it back. They're bringing back Cobra Island 1, Wave 1, which as y'all know was a nightmare to get. You know, I have nightmare stories. You have nightmare stories. We all do, but they finally running it back a second time. But guess what? Here at TBG, we don't like to stress ourselves, and neither should you, because this next wave, the one I'm reviewing today, the figure I'm reviewing today, is a widespread release. So you got to worry about nothing. Just go out, put the release, go to your normal comic book store. I'm sure they have a couple in stock, and buy one. That's what I did. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about this bad girl right here, Lady Jaye. This is definitely one of the most badass characters that I have ever picked up from G.I. Joe, and I love it. I love it so much that I'm gonna tell you guys right now. Don't finish watching the video. Go buy it, then come back, or go put in your pre-order and then come back and watch this video. But secure the bag first, and then come back and let's finish this up. But in the meantime, if you already did that, let me go ahead and break it down for you and why this is one of G.I. Joe's and Hasbro's best figures. All right, you guys, so this episode is sponsored to you by Load Up Freight Management. We find the loads that pay what you want going where you want. Now listen, if you've been paying attention to the trucking industry, you'll know it's a billion-dollar industry. And currently right now, there's a really huge backup of work, which is the reason why we're not even seeing a lot of these guys in stores right now. So please link up with my guys at Load Up so that we can go ahead and start getting all this moving again. And we can go ahead and start finding some cool ass action figures on the streets again at our local Targets, Walmarts, and comic book shops. Load Up Freight Management. Go ahead and check in the description below for the website and link up with my guys. All right, you guys, and here we have Lady Jaye still in box, and she looks great, dude. She has an arsenal of weaponry and backpacks and everything, and this is just a good-looking figure with some good shelf presence. So I really am digging the artwork that we have here. She looks very sexy, very good-looking. Right there, I think it does look pretty good, and it does encapsulate what we get in the figure as a whole, and basically everything she comes with you can basically see in the window art. There is nothing hidden, so that is nice that they put it up front and center. On the side, we do get the barcode that we normally get, basically all the stuff that we need for Lady Jaye online, which is going to show us basically what levels she has in her specialties, and then we get the Lady Jaye right there. And then this is the 25th of the line, which is crazy. And then for the piece of resistance, this is the basically the updated box art that has everybody on it. Let me go ahead and do a little zoom in for you guys, or actually maybe let me just bring it closer. So as you can tell, we do have everybody that we've gotten in the line so far on there, including right there you will see Flint and Lady Jaye, and then we do get Major Blood at the top, which means we will be getting him at some point. He hasn't been announced yet, so I'm a little confused as to when we're gonna get him, but the fact that he's even on there is super dope, and I can't wait to get him. But Hasbro, can you guys please, where the hell is this gun? Where is this? I'm gonna keep asking that. Where is the full-size crossbow that Scarlet's supposed to come with? Because that's dope as hell, and I really don't like the little one you guys gave us, but maybe that'll have to be for another review. And then on the side, we get another version of her in her... Actually, I'm noticing that she has a little bit of silver paintwork on what looks like her knees, and I don't believe we get that in the actual figure itself, so, you know, it is what it is. But it is a good looking figure overall, excuse me, some box art overall. I do hope that in the future we get maybe some kind of graphic novel so we can see some of this stuff in real play, since a lot of this we haven't really seen in game, and I don't really plan on playing the game. It's not all that good. But in terms of the box all around, it does have that beautiful look that we know all these G.I. Joe figures do come with. All right, you guys, and here she is, the beautiful Lady Jaye. Now, every now and again, Hasbro pulls a little something out of its sleeve and ends up giving us something phenomenal. Now, I've been saying it plenty of times over. We definitely need figures that are either more expensive so that we can get a more quality figure, or if they just want to give us more quality figures for the same price, that's also fine with me. And in this case, Lady Jaye is a phenomenal figure. I'm going to reserve my final thoughts at the end for whether or not I think this is one of the best in the line, but a lot of people have been saying that this is the best Joe that we've gotten thus far, and to be honest, the best figure we've gotten from the Hasbro line, and I'd be remiss to say that I don't agree, because let's get to the end. Let's get to the end. I'll show you guys right now, okay? So let's go ahead and do a full 360 and I can break down how she looks. This is without a doubt an awesome figure. It comes with a load of stuff, and I don't know much about Lady Jaye as a character, and purposely I'm going to try to do this without doing any kind of research on her to begin with, because I want to be very objective, because I kind of don't understand some of her motif, and I would love it in the comments if you guys let me know what is going on here with her weaponry and why she has what she has. So Lady Jaye is done up really nice. The face printing that they used for her, it's not following any kind of specific actor or anything like that. So it's really its own face, and it looks really good. Though I will say that the box art makes her look just the slightest bit more feminine, but this is still pretty good. She has really nice eyes overall, a little bit of blushness in the upper cheeks, nicely painted lips. The eyes look very well done, and it is picking up the skin tone just the slightest bit lighter than what it really is, but for the most part you're seeing what you're seeing. And then we do have the sculpt work around the neck for the collar, which is really nice. We have some detail on the sides for what looks like some kind of badge, which looks really nice overall. Then we have the browns in the I want to say the leather that goes around her backpacks basically, and all her holsters. They look really nice, and I like that some of that detail is right there in the shoulder. It definitely gives it an extra level of detail, and it does not get in the way of the articulation, which is very nice. I also like that the shoulders have a little bit of this, they kind of rise up a little bit, so it almost looks like she has either just the ruffles from her shoulders, or maybe it's a plate of armor. It's really hard to tell what it is, but I like the aesthetic. It makes her look a bit more buff, a little bit more strong. And then on the inside, as you can see right there, she has a little bit more of a gradient on the underarms, which is very nice. And then the zippers painted right down the center, again, are really nice. It does give her a nice 3D effect. It's not just printed on, it's not just painted on. There is something there, which is cool. And then of course we get these grooves right here, the abdomen. Now she is wearing what looks almost like a jumper suit, so for the most part it is going to be basically one color all the way through, but it doesn't look bad in the slightest, and does have a nice 3D effect to it. And what else would you want from it, right? Again, skin tone looks perfectly fine. Everything looks pretty good. This right here, I'm actually not sure if it's supposed to be her bare chest or it's supposed to be a shirt. I'm going to say that because of the color matching obviously the skin, it is. That's maybe the only part where it looks a little on the weird side, but I'm not going to knock it. For the most part, it does look pretty good. Now, the hat itself does look really nice. It fits her head very well. The hat actually does come off, and I'll show you guys that a little bit later. But it has basically the G.I. Joe insignia on it. It's done perfectly fine. Let me go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a... There we go. So it does look pretty good. Let me light it up a little more. Yeah, so the blue does look really nice. It does contrast the rest of her outfit, and I like that a lot, actually. Hold on, there we go. Cool. So yeah, overall it does look pretty good. Really fantastic on the overall colors that we get for her face, for the uniform. Let me go ahead and give you guys a side shot. So yeah, the good thing is that obviously she is a female character, and she does have they did sculpt in very well basically her chest and what looks like a little bit of chest armor potentially, so that is a good look overall. I'm glad that they were able to make it look still very modern, very military, while still giving her a feminine shape, and I appreciate that a lot. Then we can see right here her hair comes down really nice, and it actually looks surprisingly real. And again, I'll show you you a little bit later why it looks as good as it does, but it's like coming off of her head a little bit like real hair would, and that is really nice. And then we see more of that brown strapping leading back into the backpack. Again, good touch. And then we do have this blue insignia with a tree on it, which I imagine is the reason why she's wearing all green, right? She's more of this like ranger type figure, and that's pretty cool. And then as you can tell, one of the big highlights here, and let me go ahead and move it down a little bit more, double jointed elbows. Now, this is what I mean when I say every now and again Hasbro puts out something that's phenomenal. They're obviously listening to us as a fan base, and both Scarlet and Baroness sadly came with single arm joints that kind of come to 90. This one has absolutely no problem. She's going to be able to hold a gun in any which way position you want to and be able to look down range. So we'll get to that later when we get into the articulation. Let me show you the backpack while I'm at it. So since we're right here, the backpack does look really nice. It is well done. It is a slightly different green color, as you guys can see right there. Maybe a little bit more opaque, which is perfectly fine. Black straps on it. You can see where there are other straps. Kind of wish those straps were maybe brown, because I doubt that they would be all green, but at least the sculpt is there and it does look good. All the straps. And this does have a compartment, which I'll show you guys later. And of course, her accessory right there. And then I will show you the arm, but we'll do that in when we get to the accessories portion. So then as we move further down, we do get more of those brown belts. And I do believe that at least the buckle itself should either be a metallic color or at least a black color, because again, I highly doubt that it would all be all brown. But these are little things that could probably be customed in, no problem. So I'm not too worried about it for what we do get with the figure. We do get her knife holder that does look pretty good. Her knife is in all black. A few more pouches. She looks pretty good all the way through. And again, we see more of that gradient look right there. So pretty good, pretty awesome figure so far. And then, hold on. Let me go ahead and move her down. The gauntlets do look pretty good. They look definitely very tactical. I do like that. Even if she is a ranger, she's still a Joe, and she's still going to be literally killing folks. So she needs to look like she can really pull that off. And I do see that. I do definitely see the tacticalness, and I do appreciate that. And I like that as we get down to the legs, it definitely looks a bit more tactical. We get more pouches, more of that gradient look, 2 different tones of green, and a lot of depth to basically the design that we get on her legs. It's really nice. Again, it looks tactical, and it doesn't look like she's just some ranger, you know, with no gun. She definitely looks like she's some kind of military badass. And again, really cool. And then as we go a little further down, we do get some serious combat boots. I really appreciate that. These boots look really hardcore badass. They definitely look like they have that more armorized look to them, and I do appreciate that. These definitely look like she could stomp the hell out of some troopers, and that's really cool. They could have given her just regular shoes, but giving her this more tactical look right here, giving her this more armorized look, definitely lends her to being more of a militaristic figure rather than just being some park ranger. She's not a park ranger. She's a legit ranger, and that is pretty dope overall. So overall, I really appreciate this design. Out of all of them, she looks the least armorized up top, but she still looks like she means business, and she still looks like she's a Joe rather than looking, again, like I said, like a normal park ranger. Don't let that pretty face fool you. I bet you she'd be skewering people. So that is what it is. And let's go ahead and move on to the accessories. All right, so when it comes to accessories, as you can tell, Lady Jaye comes with a bunch of shit. And before you go ahead and say, holy crap, did I just scalp her? No, she actually comes with a removable hat, and that's not the hat that goes onto the hair. The hat itself has its own hair. So the reason why it looks so good when it's on her is because it really is a piece that is basically floating off of her the way normal hair would, right? And so it does look pretty realistic. It does look good, but she does look funky without it. I'm not going to show you. You've probably already seen it on the Facebook pages. It's hilarious. So let me go ahead and go through basically what she comes with. So let's go ahead and start with the hat. So the hat itself, again, as I showed you guys before, it does look pretty good. Overall, it does have the stitch work on it. It does have the hat work on it. And then, excuse me, the artwork. And then it does have the hair in the back, and it's done pretty well. And as you can tell when you saw it on her, it looks pretty good. When we get to the articulation portion, I'll do it with this hair on it, just so you can see what she would look like basically without the, hat on. And again, it does look pretty good. I think that they did a phenomenal job on it. It fits perfectly on her head. It's not going to fall off. and there's a lot of grooves on it, a lot of texture to it, and it's a soft plastic, so that is pretty nice. She also comes with a knife. The knife is going to be all black and with a little bit of a serrated edge at the bottom. So it's a simple knife, but it's nice that it has a little bit of depth to it. And then of course the handle just done in all black. And then we do get basic. So it is basically a spear point, and it goes on to one of these two spears right here. And what's cool about these Joes is that everything that they come with can be hidden away. And I'll show you guys where it gets hidden in a second. But can you guys tell me what this is down in the comments below? I don't understand what this is. This is a grenade launcher? Is this supposed to explode? She's just bapping people over the head with this? Yeah. Like, I don't really understand what this is. I just know it goes on, you know, it connects to one of the spear ends. So if you guys know, let me know so I can understand what this is about. All right, let me move into the backpack before I move into anything else. So the backpack is actually pretty dope. You can put one of these spears right there, which is nice. And then those other two spearheads can go right there in the back. So again, I love this Joe line. They've made sure that everything you get, everything that comes with the figure, at least in terms of the weapons, that you can store all of it onto the figure without needing to put this anywhere else. So I'm able to store the other two heads, the other spear, and be able to put this on her back, and she'll be able to hold everything for the exception of one of the hair pieces, which is not a big deal. And then and that's something that all Joes seem to be really good at, and I really appreciate it. I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to be. Is it just a flashlight? Is it a small death ray? Can she kill somebody with it? What is this? I want to say there's probably something else to it. Maybe it can aim for her. Somebody tell me in the comments what this is supposed to be. They don't really tell you any of this information on the box, and I don't really want to go online. I just kind of want to know what this is. But it is cool. It does articulate, and it articulates enough for you to do, I guess, a few different things to it. So that's pretty dope. And then we have the actual spears themselves. They're nice and long. They can be held in her hand like a regular weapon would be, and they're nice. They're just black all the way through, a little bit of gradient right there, and then somewhere to really hold the figure right there, so you can hold it in her hand. And it's done nicely, and the fitment of the spearheads, really nice. It's tight. It's not going to go anywhere. And then the actual gun itself, this isn't any kind of blaster rifle or anything like that. It's just literally a spear gun. She would put one of these in here and then blast it out. Now, I don't quite understand. I've seen some of the vintage stuff, and I guess these have always been her weapons. So she's like a spear shooter, kind of like Hawkeye, but with spears. Is that what that is? I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me in the comments, because I don't understand, and I would love for you guys to fill me in on what she does with these. But I imagine it's good for stealth and silence, and that's probably how she'd be capping off dudes. So pretty cool. Overall, I think she comes with a lot of stuff here, and you're not going to be disappointed. You're not going to be disappointed with overall everything she comes with. And she's obviously well equipped, and I appreciate that she comes with this much, and it can all fit on her. Everything you see here, for the exception of one of the hair pieces, is going to be able to fit on the figure itself. You're not going to have to put it anywhere else, and that's phenomenal. Alright, so here we have Lady Jaye, and now she has the regular hair on her. I'm going to show you guys the articulation and see how good it is. Obviously, this has some upgrades to it, but I just want to give you guys a little disclaimer. I have seen a few people on some of the Facebook pages that I'm on, they've broken their Lady Jaye, so obviously with new things sometimes come new quality issues, and so I'm going to try to do my best to give you the full range of motion, but I might not be able to do that because I don't want to break it. So I'm going to show you guys as much as I can, and then I'll show you what the joint actually looks like, so you can imagine really how far it goes. I have not broken this down. This is basically live. I don't know how far any of the articulation goes. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in, and we'll start with the head. So just like the rest of the Joes, she does have a really nice neutral pose, very military, very nice and upright. The only thing that I would say that you can't necessarily do with her is her arms don't really necessarily come straight down. They're always kind of out. I just noticed that you really can't get them more in than that. So, but for the most part, in terms of everything else, her stance is pretty nice, very neutral. Again, these G.I. Joes do a great job of standing straight up at attention pose, right? So let's go ahead and see about her head. So her head is on a ball hinge and she can look up that far. Now, if you can tell, her hair is actually behind the collar, so that doesn't naturally happen. You kind of have to jimmy rig it just a slight bit just to get over the collar, and then you can get all that look. And as you can tell, she's basically looking up at the sky, which is phenomenal range going backwards. And then she can look pretty, she's basically looking at the ground. It's really nice because basically on the inside of the head, she does have a little bit of wiggle room, so she can look a little further down or a little further up thanks to that. And yeah, she's basically looking directly at the ground, so that's pretty good. Now, her neck itself does have some articulation, so she can pivot over to the right that far and then to the left about the same. And then in the actual head itself, you can make her do more of like a tilt and also a tilt, so she has plenty of personality on the top part, which is really nice. Now, when it comes to her T-pose, as I mentioned earlier, those shoulders do not get in the way. That is a phenomenal T-pose. It comes all the way up, which is really nice, and it just gives her a really good amount of range. It stops hard at 90. You really can't get it above that because of the way the shoulders are made, but that's perfectly fine with me. I just wanted 90 degrees, and it can get it regardless of, as you saw earlier, how that shoulder shape was. Now, at the top of her bicep, she does have a swivel that does allow you to do a full 360, and then this is where the magic comes in, though I will mention one thing. She does come with double elbows, but the elbows don't allow her hand to go fully straight. It's always basically at this curve no matter what I do, which is fine. It still goes straight enough for me, and that's why I was saying her arms are the only problems when it comes to the full add attention pose. But when it comes to articulation, it is a double joint, which does allow her to go this far. Now, I'm not going to push it further than this. As you can tell, there's still just the slightest bit of wiggle room left that you can go further. Maybe if I warm it up with some hot water, I can more easily get it that far. But as you can tell, it goes way past 90 degrees. And again, if I were to heat it up just a little bit more, I could probably sandwich both arms. Now, at the wrist, she does get a swivel all the way around, and then she does have that cowboy grip on the right arm. So it can look down. Again, mine is very tight. I don't know why it's so tight, but that's about as far as it goes. So it does go a good amount. You will be able to get her into a few more poses thanks to that. And then on the other side, it's identical all the way down, and actually she gets the cowboy grip on this hand as well. And this one seems to go a little further, but I promise you the other one goes just as far. I'm just trying my best not to stress out the plastic. And when it comes to her torso, she does get full 360 on the top side. I'm not going to do it because it's very tight. I'm pretty sure you heard that click, but then it can go a little bit forward and back, so she gets about that much back, about that much forward, so just enough to give her a little bit of personality. And then on the bottom half, I do believe it can, let's find out. I'm going to do it live. Let's see if I can do it. So you heard that click. So I'm again, very tight, which I like because this is going to stay nice and stiff for a while. And so I don't want to ruin the figure by trying to stress it more. But yes, you could get a full 360 out of the lower waist, and that is pretty cool. And then the brown piece itself is a floaty piece which comes up. Let's go ahead and move into the legs. So for the legs, she does have the drop down hips, which is very nice. It does allow her to get basically a full splits. Yeah, I would call that a full splits. And then she can kick up. Let me show you a little more. Past 90, perfect. I don't need anything more than that. Past 90 is perfectly fine. And then she does have the cut at the top of the thigh, does the full 360. That's a bit more smoother. Double joint at the knees, which does allow her to. I'm actually kind of surprised it doesn't. You know what? Let me try one more time. Yep. That is actually really good. It definitely allows her to sandwich her own leg. Just because of the way of the articulation, she has thicker legs. It doesn't necessarily allow, the sculpt doesn't necessarily allow it to come all the way up to kick her own ass, but you will never need more than this. This is plenty. And then on the other side, we'll go to the calf. The calf does do a full 360. The foot itself does kick down. That phenomenal. That's super far. And then it does come up a little bit. It definitely has a little bit, enough to make it look like she's running, right? And then we do have swivel, which goes far enough on both sides. All right, you guys, so the fact is this Lady Jaye is an awesome, phenomenal figure. This is proof that Hasbro really is listening to some of the things that we're saying. They're making these available. They're giving us a lot of options. They could have definitely cheaped out on this character. The only thing that I feel that she's missing and what I really feel she should have came with was a pistol. I've seen some artwork where she does have a pistol with her, which is fine. I can always add a gun myself, but it would have been nice to have seen like a pistol and a pistol holder, obviously. But the way she comes laid out is awesome. Look at this. She has a phenomenal poseness to her, and you know what? Some of it might come because of the fact that she is a female character. She is a bit smaller. There's a bit more of a budget here to add other things and other badass things to her, compared to if you get like Gung Ho, who's a one of their more enormous characters for the same price point. Obviously, we might not get all the same little nuances that this one comes with. Now, while it might be a toss-up in the air for who's the best Joe character that we've gotten so far, I'm willing to say that by far this is the best female G.I. Joe we've gotten. The overall form factor and function, I mean, sure, there's a few other things that maybe Scarlet comes with and maybe the Baroness comes with, like her bike, that might make them better in their own ways, and some of the coloring, whatever the case might be. But here, I think form factor, the body that we're given here, this is phenomenal. This is definitely top tier when it comes to $20 figures. Again, please do not tell me that $20 doesn't get you far, because this is quite phenomenal for a price tag of $19.99 to about $22.99 depending on where you're buying it. I've seen as expensive as $24.99, so it really just depends where you're buying it from. But from around potentially possibly bought at $20, this is a phenomenal piece to have. Whether or not you're into G.I. Joes or just 6-inch military figures, this is one that you should want. Alright, and holy shit, this is why I do this stuff live, so that I can go ahead and kind of see stuff happen as I'm doing the video. I now realize why this looks a cut above anything we've ever gotten before from the G.I. Joe figures, and I'm going to have to double check on the Flint when I do the review as well. But look, I just realized it's a 100% pegless design. That's why it looks so clean. That's why it looks so damn cool. Look at that. Let me go ahead and do some quick zoom-ins just so I can illustrate my point. The elbow has no pegs on the bottom or top of the articulation. When we move down to the knees, there is a pegless design inside and out on all 4 joint points where we would normally see pegs. And to take it a step further, when we go down to the feet, no peg, except for what we could say that little indentation right there that would probably naturally be there anyway on the boot, but neither on the inside nor the outside. That is phenomenal. I'm probably going to reiterate this a few more times before the end of this review, but this is the best figure that we've gotten so far, period. I'm going to have to take a look at some of the other figures and see if they also have a pegless design. Maybe it's because I haven't seen them in a while, but for me, this is wonderful. This is what I mean when I say $20 figures now come with a certain amount of an expectation, and G.I. Joe and Hasbro have just raised the bar with this character. The last figure that I had that had this kind of effect was Domino, and Domino was a $27 action figure, and she didn't come with, I would say, as much as this Lady Jaye does. Listen, when you buy stuff, when you spend your money, that's how you're voting on what Hasbro is going to do next. So if you see Lady Jaye, definitely buy her. This is a must. Alright, so obviously I can't finish this review and let you guys leave without some size comparison, so let's go ahead and bring in a few other female characters. Alright, so here we have Cara Dune next to her, and as you can tell, Cara Dune is definitely shorter, definitely smaller. I want to say that Star Wars does kind of run a bit of a smaller scale than the G.I. Joe line, so this is still pretty good. I can still see this being realistic. I think in real life, Cara Dune's character would be a little bit more to Lady Jaye's normal height, so again, I think scaling is going to be a little different here, but they don't look bad at all for being something from Hasbro, and proportionally, yeah, they're a bit different. Lady Jaye seems to have a longer body, Cara Dune seems to have a little more of a stockier frame, but it works. It looks pretty good to me. Alright, and here we have the Armorer, and as you can tell, the Armorer is kind of one of the smaller characters anyway, so she looks a lot smaller than Lady Jaye, even with the helmet on, which is what we could have expected to begin with anyway, so still cool, still looks dope, and gives you a good idea of kind of the size difference between the scales of Star Wars and G.I. Joe. Alright, and if you're wondering, yes, that is Bo-Katan, and yes, since the last time I did her review, I did leave the Darksaber on her because it just looks dope as hell. And as you can tell, she's also smaller. Again, that's just going to be the thing here with these G.I. Joes and Star Wars stuff. And then here she is unhelmeted, and as you can tell, the size difference isn't too much, but she's definitely, the more you look at it, the more you realize that it's not just that the scale is different, just the geometry of the body is a lot different. So they don't really go all that well together. But again, if you're just putting it in a diorama, they're all within about the same size, so it's not too far off. All right, and here we have her next to Zartan, and as you can tell, Zartan's definitely a lot bigger, a lot bulkier, but the geometry of these figures look a bit more in line with what we're supposed to be seeing here, and it does look pretty good. I always forget how fucking big Zartan is until I put him next to everybody. He's surprisingly a large character. I see why he's such an important and kind of scary figure when it comes to the combatants that the G.I. Joe have to fight. But as you can tell, yeah, he's definitely a lot larger. But this looks more correctly in scale with what we would imagine for the G.I. Joe 6-inch line. Alright, and then here we have Flint next to Lady Jaye, and as you can tell, again, male figure. He is definitely bigger and taller, but I think he might be smaller than Zartan. When I do my own review with him, we'll go ahead and make the size comparison for this one. As you can tell, he is a larger male character, or at least larger than Lady Jaye, and he does look pretty good. This sizes up well, and as you can tell, they were released at the same time, and they have a general similar motif to them, right? The green, the black. These look really nice next to each other, though I would like to see what Lady Jaye would look like if I added, let's say, that beret. And then just to make sure I'm giving you guys at least one import, here we have the Saber from the Kamen Rider, and he is definitely taller than her. I want to say he's a little smaller than Flint himself. And this doesn't look too wildly out of scale, actually. This looks like it could be possible, even though her thighs are so thick that I think they're just as thick as Saber is with his armor on. But SH Figure Arts runs a little bit smaller anyway, so I'm pretty sure if these were specifically to scale, Saber would be a little taller, or, you know, Lady Jaye would be a little smaller, whatever the case may be. But definitely pretty cool looking Saber. I'll have to give you guys a review on this one soon. Then we also have the Sekiro figure from Figma. I forget this guy's name. I should probably look it up for the next review because I'm probably going to do him again. But for a Figma character, he's actually kind of tall. The fact that he's bigger than Lady Jaye, that's usually not the case. Figma's run a little bit on the small side, but this looks really nice, and this looks like it could potentially work out, especially considering his overall height. Again, they don't really look like they would be in the same anything, but it is something interesting to note. It looks, honestly, looks pretty cool. And then here she is next to a 7-inch scale Curse of the White Knight Batman, or I guess this would be Azrael in the Batman armor. And as you can tell, dwarfs everybody. It's a 7-inch scale. This is going to be bigger than everything. So just to show you guys a comparison, you know, other lines and other scales. Alright guys, so considering the Lady Jaye as an entire package, this is definitely one of those things that you cannot pass up on. If you haven't bought a G.I. Joe before and you're thinking about what should be the first one, whether or not Lady Jaye is good enough, she's one of the best. I think that if you get in at Lady Jaye, if you pick her up first, you're going to fall in love with the line. You're going to want to buy everything that comes after this, because this is by far their best piece. Even though, yeah, I wish it would have came with maybe guns. I understand it's not really her motif, but the fact that we were able to get as much as we did on this figure for the price point is just almost unbeatable. Now, I'm not quite sure how Hasbro decides to choose what's going to get pegless designs and what will. Just because I've looked at some of their other figures and realized that a lot of them seem to have a pegless design, but not all of them. Like that Flint, we'll get to it later, but that Flint doesn't have it. But here, Lady Jaye, every single piece is a pegless design, so it looks really phenomenal. It makes this look like it's a cut above, and I think that you're going to be hooked if you're able to purchase this. And right now it should be available everywhere, so there is absolutely no reason why you couldn't get this at a decent price. And if you do have to pay a little bit of a premium, maybe from a local friend, whatever the case may be, I think she is worth a few more dollars, just for the articulation and the pegless design and just everything that she comes with. This is definitely a figure that, again, is just a cut above its price point. Alright guys, so the consensus is in. Buy this figure if you can. If it's on pre-order, definitely it's going to be a phenomenal figure when it's in your hand, and you are definitely going to enjoy the G.I. Joe line more by having quality figures like this and letting Hasbro know that we do appreciate when they listen to us and they give us the things that we want. So if you did like this review, please give me a like, comment, a subscribe. Let me know down at the bottom what you think of this figure. And like I mentioned before, I don't necessarily know everything about Lady Jaye, so fill me in. Let me know what's up. I'm still a growing, I'm I'm still a growing page, you know, a YouTube page. And so your subscriptions, your likes, your shares, your comments, all of that helps me grow. So again, I do appreciate if you guys are able to do that for me, so I can go ahead and keep bringing you guys out more stuff like the flint, the saber, the the other things that I have that I haven't gotten to. But again, the more you guys are able to support me, the more you guys are able to help me get more, just people being able to see my page. It helps me a lot and gets me further, so I can bring you guys more and more content in the future. All right. So again, this was a TBG feature, and I am your host, Nello. Deuces.